Brothers and sisters, let me share a little parable with you to teach this principle. This is my favorite non-scriptural parable of all time. I love this. It was told by Elder James E. Talmage clear back in the early 1900s, and I'm going to modify it slightly. I'm going to take some license and tell the story just slightly different than how he did in General Conference many, many years ago. It's called The Parable of the Grateful Cat. You ready? Just a made-up story to teach a principle. Once upon a time, there was a naturalist lived out in the woods in a cabin. One day he's walking home past a little pond near his home, and there are two neighbor boys who walk up to the pond carrying a picnic basket followed by a mother cat. They set the picnic basket down. The first boy reaches into the basket and pulls out a brand new born baby kitten. Turns to the pond. Mother cat is going ballistic on the shoreline. She's not happy as the second boy is reaching in for another kitten. The naturalist stops them, says, "Hey, wait a minute." And he comes down and he knows that they're poor. So he says, "Can I buy them from you?" They agree. He gives them some money. He takes the basket and goes to his cabin, and they go home. Which direction does Mother Cat go? Pretty obvious. She's going to follow the kittens. So he makes a little corner in his cabin with a blanket and provides some milk or cream for the mother cat. Doesn't think much of it. The next day, the naturalist has a house full in his front room of distinguished guests who have come as he's sharing some scientific findings. Halfway through his presentation, through the front door that's open, walks Mother Cat up the center aisle. She drops at his feet the biggest, the juiciest mouse you've ever seen. Fresh caught. She hasn't eaten any of it. She just freshly killed it and drops it at his feet, rubs up against his legs, then turns and walks very proudly back out the door. There's the parable as told by Elder Talmage in General Conference, with a few minor modifications. Brothers and sisters, what just happened? Is the naturalist standing there thinking to himself, "Oh, a mouse, freshly caught, just what I wanted"? The mouse means absolutely nothing to the naturalist, but the mouse meant a great deal to the cat. And he recognized the sacrifice that was made. She gave up something that would have meant a great deal to her as an expression in a cat's way of expressing gratitude for what had been done to save her young. She's now dropping a thank you gift at his feet. Because in her mind, what could a living organism want more than a freshly caught mouse? When in reality, it's just going to cause him more work. Now, brothers and sisters, let's be clear. When I go to the servants of the Lord and I drop tithes and offerings at their feet, when I put that there and then walk away, don't think for a minute that God up in heaven is rubbing his hands together saying, "Oh, look at all this money that's coming in today. It's a fast Sunday. Look at all these donations and tithing offerings. Think of all the things I can do with it." Brothers and sisters, this doesn't mean anything to God. He created all the world. This is nothing. And some would say, "Oh no, Brother Griffin, God needs this kind of stuff in order to run the church programs." As the creator of worlds without number, how hard would it be for him to go to our prophet and say, "You know that property that you own in such and such location? Just dig down 20 feet. And they dig down and find the world's biggest diamond mine that could solve any financial questions that could ever arise for hundreds of years to come. God could finance this church without even thinking about it. But he doesn't do it that way. He does it this way. It's part of the covenant, brothers and sisters. Tithes and offerings are not about dollar bills or currency in your own nation. It's about you saying, "God, I love thee more than I love this." Just like the cat saying, naturalist, I love you, and I'm thankful for what you did, so I'm going to sacrifice something that means a lot to me as a sign of my gratitude to you. Now, let's follow this for just a second. What does God do with this when we drop this at his feet? Because unlike a mouse at a naturalist's feet, God can actually do things with this. He takes our, once again, mortal offering, and he turns it into some things that become eternal. He builds temples. He prints scriptures. He publishes general conference. He provides means for the general authorities to run the programs of the church worldwide. He provides a missionary program. All of these things that he doesn't need in order to be saved. He's already saved. But they help us on our journey to become more like him. Elder Talmage finished his parable, and he said, our need to sacrifice for God or give things to God is incalculably greater than his need for our service to him. God doesn't need us to serve him, but we desperately need to serve him as a sign that we're returning unto him. And one means that he has done that is through tithes and offerings. Brothers and sisters, there are some of you who are thinking to yourself, I can't afford to pay tithing. Can I just say, we're talking about the God of the universe, holding worlds without number in his hand. It's a serious test of faith, a leap into the darkness for some of you. But if you make it, his promises are sure that he, the God of the universe, combined with your faith and your diligence, turning to him in that act of faith, is going to be able to do more with 9/10 of your income than you, without his help, are going to be able to do with all of your income reserved for yourself. And how that works, I don't know. But I have proven this over and over and over again. My wife and I, in our marriage, and before that even in my life. Look at the promise. Verse 10, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. This is one of those principles of the gospel, brothers and sisters, that we could preach forever, and it won't do nearly as good as you living it, putting God to a test, and see what happens.